can't do it myself, and every hole's a goal. Oh no, we better not be recording. I swear to God, don't do that. No.
It took a while, but we got there eventually.
Good morning, Vietnam! I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
I feel the need for speed.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Snakes. Why'd it have to be snakes?
I'm Spartacus!
I'm Batman. I am the father.
You drinking, Thomas?
And I was going to say, Sister, are you on the beer already?
Yeah, you drink? Huh? Imagine that. Friday
I have water. I've
got a real pint. It's my beer machine pint. I think I go to the pub and just steal a glass.
Nice. What is that called again? Is it? I don't know. What's the word for it?
The perfect draft.
Is that what it is? I've seen other ones in it, but I think this one that began with a K.
The Krupp, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Is it decent? Like, does it pour a nice pint?
It does, aye. You get a nucleated glass as well, and you get an even better pint.
Oh, that sounds really swish.
It's not bad. I've got some cracking pint glasses that are the old school, look at the handle and the checkered.
Oh, I love those types of ones. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
I've got a Stella one, it's like a goblet that's nucleated, so it gives it more crisp.
Also, the fact that you said goblet it's pretty damn middle class, I mean, if I'm being honest.
If it makes it any better, it's Tennent's that's in it.
Although, see, when we went to Italy, everyone kept saying to us, "Oh, we love Tennent's," and I was like, "What?" Because we said that we liked like Nastro Azzurro, because obviously everyone in Italy hates Peroni, but they kept saying how good Tennent's was, and I was like, "Oh, that's not my opinion." But
not just Tennent's, but Tennent's Super.
My God,
Tennent's
why is
Super,
that a thing?
Tennent's Super is seen as a more kind of highbrow drink in Italy.
That is absolutely hysterical, because a couple of places we went to had Tennent's on draft, which I found really bizarre. I was like, I don't know, maybe it travels better. I don't know, maybe it tastes better abroad than it does here.
I don't mind Tennent's actually, but I know what you mean. It's got a bad reputation. It's definitely not a high class lager.
I just don't like the taste. Like, I don't mind like a Heverly or something, but I don't like Tennent's, and I don't like Foster's or anything like that, or Carling or anything like that. To me, that just all tastes.
No delights Foster's and Carling apart from football hooligans.
I was going to say maybe the Aussies like Foster's, but
and even football hooligans don't like it really. They just drink it because they think it's like working class and stuff, but it's not. It's just rubbish.
Yeah, it doesn't taste nice at all. In fairness, I'm not a massive beer drinker, but if I had to pick one, I like the Heverly. And actually, Chris has been drinking Alhambra. It's a Spanish beer, but it's quite a high percentage. It's like 11% or something like that. But it doesn't taste like heavy. It's really nice.
Is that why I haven't seen it in a while?
Strong, yeah, aye. Is that why I can't walk anywhere? Fuck's sake, 11%.
That's Spain for you, though. That's why they'll go nap in the afternoon, because they had like an 11% beer for lunch. My main concern is that next door there's a gentleman renovating the house, and all day yesterday and today all I've heard is drills, bangs, thumps. I'm quite conscious that I can hear drilling just now. I don't know if you guys can hear it.
I can only hear it because you've pointed it out, to be honest.
I can hear it, but it actually sounds as if there's somebody in a cupboard and they've got something over their mouth and they're going, "Oh, let me." That's what that sounds like.
No comment on that.
Yeah.
Mary, what have you been watching?
So I've been quite bad with my TV viewing recently, but I have obviously been to see Elvis, which I loved, and The Black Phone, which we're discussing today. And then I recently watched an Italian documentary called Futura, which I reviewed for the site. And that was really interesting, because I always think of Italy as this like gloriously sunny place with like, you know, really nice food, really chilled out. And actually it was a bit bleak. It was about, you know, young people addressing their opportunities for the future and how they feel like they've kind of been let down by the Italian government. So it was really interesting and definitely worth a watch. It kind of makes you think about, because you know how when you always go on holiday, you're like, oh, I can see myself living here. But the reality is always quite different. So that was good.
That's the impact of Tennent Super on the
country.
That's
the Tennent Super talking. But other than that, I've been mostly doing a lot of reading. I read Insatiable by Daisy Buchanan, which was, the title should have given it away, but it was clearly a little bit more on the side of literotica as opposed to an actual book, which when I whipped it out in Costa at lunchtime, I was like, oh, this feels mildly inappropriate. I also read The Devil in the White City, the book about H.H. Holmes and how the World Fair came to Chicago, because Martin Scorsese's meant to be turning this into a film, isn't he? So I thought I'm going to read up on it. And that was so fascinating and so well written. Like, I felt like it really brought you into what Chicago was like at that time, all the like socio-political stuff that was going on, and obviously the good bit, all the murders that were being committed at the World's Fair Hotel. So I read that and a whole other stack of books that I worked my way through on honeymoon, including Under the Banner of Heaven, which you recommended, Simi, which wasn't exactly light reading, but, you know, I do love my fundamentalist religions, so it was interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty grim, isn't it, that book? But there's also some bits of it that are quite humorous, where it talks about the history of the Mormons and that. It does say it with a kind of light-hearted slant.
Oh yeah, tongue really firmly in cheek when describing a lot of the stuff that, you know, is alleged to have happened at the origin of the religion. But I'm always kind of amazed at people who, I mean, it obviously takes a certain type of person at a certain stage in their life, but if somebody just sort of sprung up and declared themselves a prophet of God and you had to follow him across like half a country in really terrible conditions, I don't know what kind of mindset you have to be in to go, do you know what? Yeah, I'm going to pack up and my husband can, you know, take another few wives. We'll have about 20 kids. We'll all live together. We'll all be poor together. I don't know what state of mind you're in when you're doing that. Maybe it was different back in the 1800s. I have no idea.
Nice. Thomas, what about you? Have you been using your the little spare time that you actually have? What have you been doing with it? Apart from touching yourself, naughty boy, don't do that. You'll go blind.
Well, they say you'll go blind, but my eyesight's still pretty good. I'm not.
Do you know that's why cornflakes were invented?
Yes, I did know that.
Yeah.
I always thought that was an urban legend, and it only got confirmed to me recently that that's actually a true thing, because they thought that bland food would stop you from having a chunk. Oh dear. Sorry, Simi.
But not just that. Cornflakes still exist, as does masturbation. So, really, who won out of it?
That's true. Although I don't think they're going to go with the whole "will stop you from wanking" as their sort of marketing strapline.
They really should. I mean, I don't think people would buy it as much if that was a marketing slogan.
You know,
I think Snap Crackle Pops would maybe have a zing to it, personally.
Oh, that is brilliant.
Can you imagine, like, go to the supermarket and you're like, I don't think cornflakes, you know, will stop me from masturbating. Bang, I'd rather have a bowl of Cocoa Pops. And that could be the marketing campaign for Cocoa Pops. I don't eat cornflakes, so there's that theory. But what have I been watching? I've been watching Seinfeld, actually. I keep kind of dipping in and out of it. Watched Stranger Things. I've caught up at the halfway point of that, season 4. That's been really good because I just wasn't that bothered about coming back. I couldn't remember anything that happened in the previous seasons, and I was like, this is kind of one of these shows when I'm watching, I enjoy it. When it finishes, I instantly forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
I have been enjoying this season, though it's a lot more kind of horror based, and so Nightmare on Elm Street, homages here and there, very unsubtly. I mean, I think it's very clear, especially with some of the guest stars they have.
Cool.
I did start watching The Boys, unlike yourself, who's waiting for it to be binged, and yeah, I had issues with last season. I thought it was really drawn out. I thought it was some really good episodes, but some episodes were just clearly filler. This, I'm not noticing that. I think every episode's clearly serving a purpose, and they've really ramped it up. It's more crazy, but it's also very, very dark. Very dark.
That's what I've been looking forward to, because I do love Anthony Starr. Like, I feel like he barely has to, like, it's almost just like a slight flicker of his eye, and you're like, oh my god, he's going to go absolutely fucking psycho. Like, he's so good as Homelander.
He really did in real life, didn't he?
I wasn't going to mention that in case it was libelous, but okay.
It's funny enough, when I heard of it and people are giving him a hard time cancelling him and that, I was, what's he done? Thinking it's some sort of Me Too thing. And then I read it, I went, just a waiter in a restaurant. I mean, who's not done that?
I feel like you need to start eating cornflakes, Sammy, or lay off the Tennent super.
Book-wise, I've not really been reading much. I've been reading textbooks mostly, but I have been reading Farewell to Arms by Ernest Hemingway.
Oh, wow.
Like most
How
Hemingway
refined.
stuff. Yeah, very much. Like most Hemingway stuff, it's very, very easy to read, but a lot happening behind the words, the themes in that. Film-wise, I've not been into cinema much, but I did binge watch the Maniac Cop trilogy the other weekend.
So inspired by our last pod.
Pretty much, yeah. So they're on YouTube, so I've got them in DVD somewhere, but they're on YouTube. I went and actually watched them. Watched the first two and thought, should I watch the third one? Nah, fine. And I watched them and I'm like, oh, there's Rorschach, the Watchman. What's his name again? The actor. Jackie
Oh, I know who you mean, but I don't know his name.
Jackie Haley. Jackie Haley. Ah, you know what I'm talking about. He's in it. And Robert Foster's in it as well. I was like, a strange cameo, which leads me on to the last film I watched the weekend was Alligator, starring Robert Foster, which is a brilliant film. It really is. You're looking at me, Mary, going,
No, but what is that? I don't know what that is.
Alligator. It's kind of, that's what it says.
Is it
The
about
tin.
an alligator?
Have a guess, yeah.
Is it like Jaw? Okay, sorry, that was a bit of a thick moment.
It's like detective noir thriller called Alligator, and it's some kind of like subtext. No, it's like a giant alligator that lives in the sewer, and it was kind of it's a rip off of Jaws. I mean, even the theme music is very similar, but this film, believe it or not, it's got an 83% rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Does it?
It's actually really. It's a cult classic and it was quite critically acclaimed, especially for the kind of film it is. And Tarantino apparently hired Robert Foster and based his character on Jackie Brown from Alligator. And he also got nominated for an Academy Award for that. So
wow.
Alligator.
I just didn't know. Sorry, I was just going to say I didn't know if Alligator was like a code name, like see it was like a drugs gang or something, and maybe like, but no, it literally is just an alligator.
It's just a guy alligator. It does what it says in the tin. It's a really good film though. He's really good in it. The performances are good. Special effects are what they are, but it's all practical. Billy Maniac Cop. I mean, you watch it now, and some of the makeup's a bit dodgy, but as I've seen he's walking through a prison on fire. It's a guy on fire attacking people. No CGI, no computer trickery whatsoever. It's just, and the scene's quite long, so you can imagine how long they took it. But it's the bits where you see the guy on fire grabbing other people and hitting them. You're like, wow, man, I don't even know if they've got insurance for this. Because you're also watching a B movie and you're thinking, yeah, you wonder how many corners of it can cut.
Yeah, 100%.
Hemingway in William Lustig films, nice to be banned in Tennent. So, and not even conflicts. John, about yourself?
Well, I've had quite a lot of downtime, so I've managed to catch up on cinema viewing. Last week, I think I had seen everything out at Cineworld for the first time in must have been 3-4 years, because I went to see the Jurassic World film, which was okay. It was all right. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. It's just okay, which is a bit of a shame. Saw the Elvis film, which was really, really good. I don't know if you saw it. There was an article in The Guardian today about how accurate the Elvis film was. Aye, we all
is this
know
the same newspaper
that
gave it both 2 and 5 stars?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, they obviously didn't have a third review to give it that sort of 3.5. So, I saw Good Luck to You, Leo Grande, the Emma Thompson film, which was actually pretty good. It was a pretty decent film. It's just a two-hander about a widower who is looking for a bit of sexual excitement, so she hires a sex worker, and it's their meetings. And it's all about her hang-ups and some of his hang-ups and things like that as well. It's really well done. So actually a pretty good wee movie as well.
Was it sponsored by Kellogg's?
There was a Kellogg's moment at the end of it, but And I also went to see Get Carter, the 4K restoration of it. I saw that at the GFT, which was brilliant because I hadn't seen that film for years and years. And Newcastle was grim in it. Totally grim, but yeah, really good film.
Oh, the original, I thought you were talking about the remake with Sylvester Stallone.
I've seen that. That's terrible.
Why do you go to that one? Why would you not automatically just go, oh yeah, the original film? Why are you even thinking of the remake?
It's in his nature.
I just had to bring it into the Moviescramble sphere here that this film does exist.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Because someday, somewhere in a studio thought, let's remake a Michael Caine film. Who do you want to star? Sylvester Stallone.
Other stuff, I managed to see The Northman as well.
Oh, that's really good.
We could talk about in more detail at some point, because I think that's worthy of a long conversation, because it's fucking nuts. But on the flip side of that, it's Robert Eggers' most accessible film, which I can't really get my head around. That was really good. I saw Morbius, which was rubbish. And
I thought Morbius was all right.
I just feel bad for Jared Harris because I think he's better than that.
Yeah, And I saw the Downton Abbey movie, A New Era, which was surprisingly okay. I've never seen the TV show or anything, but
Have you not?
somehow I knew everything that was going on in it. I knew all the characters, and people just obviously because it's old people talk about this sort of stuff. So and I hang about with old people. So
Were you just sitting there with like a scoring sheet going, yeah, that butler's missed that teaspoon. Don't like the positioning of that fork. You would be fired.
Yeah, I didn't have high hopes for it because it was part of it was Downton Abbey goes on holiday, which is never a good sign for a TV show.
Yeah, it's a bit jump the shark, isn't it?
Yeah, but it worked pretty well, even though there was that in it, and there was a bit set. It was to do with the introduction of movies with sound in the early 30s and all that. So it was actually pretty decent. TV wise, I've been totally into all the Apple TV stuff at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched Severance, which is excellent. I basically binged that. I waited till that finished, just watched it all. Really, really good. Watched The Shining Girls as well, which was excellent. It's really good, yeah.
Yeah, I really fancy that because it's Elizabeth Moss, isn't it?
It's a wee bit slow, the first episode, but then it just picks up almost right away once it gets into the sort of guts of it, and it follows through really nicely right to the end. It's pretty good. Watched the second season of The Morning Show, which was fairly decent. Again, took a couple episodes to get going. It was all around the start of COVID and everything because it was set round about that time. And apparently they had the whole second season all planned out and they'd started filming it and then COVID hit and they thought, well, we can't really do this. And they changed the whole story or they changed the big elements of the story to fit in with the sort of developing COVID crisis and all that. So that's fairly decent as well. Try to think what else. Oh, For All Mankind. Started watching that, the third season of that, which is particularly good. I think there's been maybe about 4 or 5 episodes of it. It's still maintaining that sort of really sort of high level in between sort of science fiction, science fact, and soap opera, because there's a whole sort of element of that. So that's pretty decent as well. I don't know if you've seen any of that, Thomas, have you?
Seen the first season. I thought it was excellent. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's a strange program to try and explain because it doesn't sound that interesting and exciting. But when you watch it, it's really good.
Yeah.
Where is that on? Sorry,
Apple.
That's on Apple as well at the moment. Yeah. But as I said, you can get a 6-month trial through the PlayStation at the moment, and it's transferable onto other devices, so you don't necessarily need to kick Chris out of the games room in order to watch it. You can watch on wherever you can get access to Apple.
I do need to see that because I want to see season 2 of Ted's Lasso. Oh, I forgot. I watched Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness at long last, and it was so good that I obviously forgot about it.
Yeah. Same, actually.
It didn't, like, there were some elements of it that I liked, but I wanted an out-and-out kind of horror thing, and it just didn't deliver on those levels.
Well, I'm sure we'll talk about this, but I think that's why the reasons why Scott Derrickson did leave and end up making the Black Phone was because of the shackles of Marvel with the film. Because I was the same as you. I liked the film for what it was. I thought Elizabeth Olsen was excellent.
She was.
I loved what it did with Scarlet Witch. I was expecting that. But for a film called Multiverse of Madness, I was expecting to have mad.
Yeah, it wasn't an awful lot of madness.
It was quite.
It's quite safe.
Yeah, fairly safe Marvel fare, with a wee horror element to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's some nice touches on it with some of the elements that I'd rather not spoil. Some stuff in it which I was kind of aware of beforehand, but I didn't really pay attention too much of it. But when it came up, I was kind of like, oh, that's quite interesting. That's quite good. But in the post-credit scene, I had to look up who that was, and then when I looked at it, right, okay, yep, I get that. I understand it now. I'd heard of the character was introduced to as well, so yeah, that was pretty good.
So guys, just talk about TV there. Didn't you watch Obi-Wan?
Yes, I'm
going to finish that as well.
3 episodes into that just now. I'm just about to start the 4th one. I think there's 6 in total, isn't there?
Yeah,
and they're all there now. So,
are they right? Okay.
Yeah,
my son's not in it though, so I mean,
how do you know?
Because the timeline's
I don't know
different.
if it's not.
Because the timeline's different, is it not?
Means nothing though.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
There can be more than one. I saw you'd posted a photo 2 years ago. I had my baby.
I became a parent. And the collection's only get worse since. He's on socks, pajamas, crochet things. I take him out and about with me. I mean, I'm clearly in need of some therapy, but that's
Yep.
We move.
Do what you can to get through the day, let's face it. Book-wise, I've actually been starting reading some novels again for a change. So I've been reading Slow Horses, which I've also watched as well. That's on Apple TV. It's a MI5 drama, which is really good. So I watched the show, which is only 6 episodes, and they've already filmed the second season of it, and they're going to do like 4 apparently, at least 4. So that's really good. Really like it. Mick Herron. I'm also reading Soji Shimada, which is called Murder in the Crooked House. It's a locked room mystery. It's a Japanese author, which I'd been looking for a while. It's on this Pushkin Vertigo imprint, and they do a lot of translated mysteries and sort of detective things, so I started reading that as well. And Douglas Lindsay, I don't know if you've heard of him, Scottish author. He's written 3 books, the D.I. Westphal novels. Just starting the 3rd one of that now.
I have heard you mention that before.
Yeah.
He also wrote the Barney Thompson novels as well, which the first one was made into a film with Robert Carlyle. Which is brilliant. That's really good. That's another great Emma Thompson performance in there as well. And I've been reading a graphic novel called Sweet Tooth as well, which is the Netflix TV show's based on, which is pretty good. I'm enjoying the graphic novel. I haven't actually watched the Netflix show, but I'll be watching that. And finally, I just finished a book by a guy called Kerry Box, who's actually a friend of mine who wrote a novel a wee while ago, and he asked me to proofread it for some bizarre reason. It's called Bridges Best Kept, and he's just released it onto Amazon now. That's the guy that used the same cover artist that you use, Thomas. You put them onto him, and it looks pretty good. So sort of a thriller that's set in Australian outback in Perth and Singapore, and it's pretty decent. It's his first novel. He's written a book about his experiences before, where he ran a drive-through coffee place through in Livingston, and then he wrote a book about it after he sold the business, and it was all basically, if you're thinking of doing this, don't. It's a bloody nightmare and all that. So that's pretty good. I did have a wee bit of a laugh with him as well, because I was asking him if he was one of these sort of, I don't know if you're like that, Thomas, you're a bit of a method author. You try and act out as much of the scenes.
I bloody hope not.
That's quite difficult with your novels, there are bodies everywhere. But in this book, because it's a thriller, there's a couple of sex scenes in it, and there's one sex scene where the main character gets on with this woman in his penthouse flat, and the way he describes it is they used every surface in the room. So I asked him if he actually did that.
Just for research purposes, yeah.
He was like, no, I haven't tried it. I've not done it. I'm not going to do it. I was, okay, fair enough, yeah. So, yeah, that's been me for the most part, but there's obviously lots of other stuff I've been watching as well, but yeah, I think that's probably enough.
I'm going to look up Sexy Duck. I can't help it.
I have to know what this looks like, actually. Scared.
An actual duck has come up. Oh my god, there's a rubber duck.
Oh, there's a restaurant called Sexy Duck in Poland.
Oh.
I'm seeing the bondage rubber duck.
I Google this.
There's a photo of a duck with its legs in the air. Oh my god. Right, okay, I don't want to go any further into Google because I feel like that might be falling down some sort of rabbit hole. Sammy's obviously seen some shit.
I've seen too much.
Was it the S&M rubber duck that you're looking at just now?
Yes.
It was the Daffy Duck one. It was actually it was from an actual cartoon as well. It wasn't even like actual. It looked legit.
Just seen that.
And then it was the Daffy Duck singing "Sexy Duck" to the Sexy Back by Timberlake.
Oh my god! Oh, I've just seen the Daffy Duck one. I've seen that before. Yeah. Don't know what that says about me. That I've seen that before.
I thought it was familiar.
You can get a pair of Y fronts with a duck on the crotch.
A duck and a dick.
Nice.
Do you know what though? I'm convinced that there's like a fetish. Like there's a fetish for everything, isn't there? Like you can literally find, as we discussed in our trip to the Raven, you can find something for everyone.
Yes.
Yeah, there's probably something out there with a sex doll rubber duck.
Oh. There's a thought. And if that's not already a market, Sammy, then you've got it cornered and you need to get that patented immediately.
How do I even approach that to the patents office? You know, it's like, oh, I'm on Shark Tank or something like that, or Dragon's Den. It's like, so everybody likes rubber ducks, play them in the bath.
I just imagine you at a posh dinner party and someone's like, so how did you make your millions? And you're like, oh well, let me tell you a story.
See that duck statue in the garden?
It all started with my refusal to eat cornflakes.
Well, that's the problem. People are eating cornflakes. Start looking at the rubber duck.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And you just think, I can't do it myself, and every hole's a goal. Oh no, we better not be recording. I swear to God, don't do that. No.
It took a while, but we got there eventually.
Yeah, there's the intro to the podcast right there. There's the intro to the podcast. And every other podcast from now on. Not just Moviescramble. Any podcast is done.
I must admit, I did love listening to the deleted scenes because it literally just said you see Mary on Tinder. I just thought that was brilliant. Because that Futura came through, obviously, and I thought, oh yeah, I'll give that a watch. And it was really interesting. It was those 3 directors that did it, and sort of halfway through shooting, obviously COVID, and Italy had mad restrictions and stuff like that, so it was quite interesting. But yeah, the youth of Italy are all a bit depressed. I was like, oh, nobody thinks they're going to get a job. Nobody thinks they're going to be able. I mean, in fairness, that's people everywhere, isn't it? So but it was interesting.
Black Phone, that's quite difficult to talk about in terms of you don't want to have spoilers or anything, you know.
Yeah, that's one thing I mentioned during the podcast for spoilers, but I loved the idea that he was doing all these killings with his brothers next door.
Yeah.
And
that the brother was on, and when you literally saw the brother's map, you're like, yeah, you've cracked it. The killer is in there. Yeah, isn't that those 4 triangles? Yeah. That he just
I know you're saying you didn't kind of like the kind of element as much, but I just thought it was quite funny the idea and just cocked at his nut. Well, his brother's just all these like killings, and he's just fucking out his face, like playing like sleuth.
Yeah. No, I get what you mean. It just took me out of it a wee bit, but I did.
I get what you mean. No.
Yeah.
I do get what you mean. For me, I kind of did welcome it, but I kind of levitate it because there wasn't a lot of it.
No, as I say, the scene with the dad, because I was like, that girl's really crying. I was like, this is making me really uncomfortable. Because she was actually screaming, and I was like, oh my God, this feels far too real. It doesn't even feel like acting anymore. It feels really... But then, of course, she sort of calmed down when she took the bottle in her hand, and I was like, fucking drop it.
She was great. She was really good. It's when she cracked the bullies on the rock. She just
I know. I couldn't believe that. And of course, she's this little sweet thing with pigtails, and she's like, come here, you fucking cocksucker. And I was like...
I don't. That's even the dad though. I don't know what was worse. The actual belting scene. I mean, she goes to sit down and watch the TV. And she's just sobbing. I was like, "Fucking hell, man! This is grim."
It was. But then at the same time, you're also like, because that unravels that he's obviously lost his wife, and he kept saying that, you know, your mum had these dreams, and you're like, well, do they think the mum was mentally unwell? And then and he's obviously got no job, and you're thinking he's a product of his environment as well, and it's not that he's acting because that's maybe always been his nature. It's just he's dealing with so much loss. It was there was so much in it, but that was
I love the character, the young Latino kid. I can't remember his name now. It was the tough kid. He was. I loved that. I loved the idea of him kind of like it was me scrawny kid, but sticking up for him. I love shit like that. It's just dead basics. Stand by me style storytelling, but
Pardon you, Mary.
Oh my God, this has been going on for 48 hours. I cannot deal with this. And I understand that he's bought a house that literally needs to be stripped back to the wires, but it does feel like the drills are going to come through the wall, and it's not conducive to actually being productive at work.
That was something else I watched actually. I forgot about the Slumber Party reboot / remake.
You mentioned that, huh?
That was interesting. That was very interesting because, I mean, the first one isn't a great film by any means. You know, it's the second one I think is more kind of popular because it's a bit more kind of crazy. The drummer killer is the film which reminded me there. And this really inverts that male gaze aspect of it, and it manages to do it in a way that's more effective than all these gender swap films by not gender swapping anything. There's still the female cast all having a slumber party. Then bring these male characters into it, and there's this really gratuitous shower scene for no reason whatsoever in the film, of this guy showering. And it works in a kind of parody way because how these films for the 70s, 80s slasher films always had this random shower scene for no reason. The girls open herself up, so it kind of plays in that, but it works really effectively. These tropes, and it's above all that, it's a very entertaining slasher film.
Where can you find it?
So Shudder.
Right, excellent, good.
Oh, Chris has been watching that Eli Roth's
Oh,
History of Horror on Shudder, and I happened to
brilliant.
come in while he was watching the episode about Mad Scientist, and of course it did The Fly and Jekyll and Hyde and Frankenstein, and it was a brilliant episode. And I was like, I really want to watch this series now because I can't remember where it was coming in from. Oh, I'd been at my friend's house, but I sat down and I was like, I want to watch this. This looks great.
It's a great series. I'd highly recommend that.